Welcome to the Bryce Eddy Show. So today, my guest, my brother, my buddy, Siaka Massaquoi joins me for an episode on the news. We're going to talk about some things, which there's a lot to talk about, brother.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
we've been far behind. We missed a couple weeks, so we got to get to it.
That is right. Well, listen, my face is swollen. For people who've seen my social media post on it, it was an ugly thing getting cut on like that. And today, yesterday was bad, of course, as the day following the operation. But today, man, all of the fluid from the lidocaine and everything is seeping down into my eyes. And yesterday, I was looking like. I had a very conciliatory and soft look to my face because, everything was pulled together and made my eyebrows arch up. And I'm like, I just lost all of my fierceness. I look like an approachable guy. I don't want to be approachable.
You don't want to talk to a bunch of people. I actually thought they took out your third eye. I was like, they took it out. All right,
that's right. They did. It was quite a gnarly thing. But today I'm extra swollen and my eyes are puffy and don't want to open up. I'm hiding it with my glasses here, but my scar is gnarly. And it's going to be fun later on. But my modeling career might be over. So
for now, yes, because nowadays with body positivity, you can do anything.
I'm gonna play. I'll be typecast for like zombie roles and things like that. Now
the bad guy roles.
Monster roles. That's going to be my future now.
That's all right. Hey man, there's a lot of people make a lot of money doing that over and over. You could be the go-to guy.
That's right. I think so, man. So, hey, we got some fun news stories. One of which is right now, as we are recording this, is kind of going on, and it's beautiful. So, Trump is sitting down with the South African president, and he played a 4-minute long video showing the government of South Africa and all the government leaders calling for genocide of the white farmers. So basically, kill the Boer, kill the whiteys, all the stuff that's been going on for a long time that's been kind of excused by our media and ignored. But, there is some tremendous racism going on towards white South African farmers. And we're talking about people that have been there for 400 years.
Right.
We're talking about communities, oh, by the way, that understand farming, that when they have been ousted from their farms, some regions have starved because the people that are taking over these farms and all that stuff don't know how to farm. And our media is, almost mocking or actually showing their distaste for the actual asylum seekers that are coming over here. They're acting like, of course, we're racist in favor of white people because we're allowing white asylum seekers. And then they're telling lies like, look at these, they look well fed, they're not really in danger. But literally, you've got a government and you've got government leaders over there in South Africa calling for their death right now.
Singing for their death. Like they're doing it at big stadiums. The other side is, and I think you're a little too generous with the media. They're actively denying it's happening. They're not just ridiculing. They're denying, like, that's not happening. There's no evidence that it's happening. You're like, and I just actually on a X account, seeing the video, somebody who's conservative was like, oh, I wish that the leader of the free world would find a better way than showing TikTok videos. And I'm just like, bro, the one thing, and I got to say this, that I feel like is missed on our side of the fence is that it's not 1986 anymore. It's not. This guy almost got shot for coming in and trying to shift everything. Like, we're in a different world, a world where media is king, a world where they showed George Floyd over and over for weeks straight to get people charged up, and you're upset that. And the person where I go, how would you do it? And the person said, well, I would say, hey, the South African ambassador said, is this true? I'm like, oh, yeah, like, talk about it. And then you just have the pundits on the other side saying he's lying, like they say already. Like, I feel like sometimes on our side, we don't understand what winning looks like for so long that we just continue with loser mentality. It's really frustrating.
That's right. But I mean, so Trump played for the South African president all of this to go like, okay, what do you think of this stuff? What's going on there? I mean, it is such a boss move. I mean, what the heck?
And he brought out paperwork and showed the people who were killed. He showed their faces on there and it's like, this person's killed. So he went like in front of everyone. This is happening. I just that the media is crumbling left and right because this is not just as terrible as it is. It's not just, hey, there is genocide, going on towards the white farmers in South Africa. This is an attack against the media who turn a blind eye to true atrocities around the world for their agenda. And I think that every time he makes a move like this, we're looking at what leadership looks like. We're looking at what strategy looks like that they don't understand because it's not their guy and they're not falling in line. This is brilliant, man. I'm actually in awe of this man as a leader of men. That he would be this bold, and I think everyone needs to take a page out of this book.
Yeah, I agree. But again, it's such a sick thing for our
Mhm.
media to deny that there is actual, evil and crimes going on against the white South African communities. I mean, it's an evil thing, and again, it's all based on this same story that you can only be racist if you're white, and you can only
Mhm.
be racist,
Against whites.
against blacks, and
Yeah.
it's a unbelievable thing
Well,
that's been kind of indoctrinated into our culture.
well, I also want to point out you pointed out something about the atrocities. They were also quiet about a lot of the grapes. I don't know if we're also on Rumble, so I'll say rape just because we can. And murder of women and children in the southern coming over the southern border, but they didn't care because it didn't fit their agenda to
Right.
flood our country with basically the new version of slavery. It didn't matter to them that these women and children, 360,000, I think, that was reported that are missing right now. God knows how many that have been killed on that journey. The women that have been killed. I mean, they're literally on the other side of the border, rape trees where they hang the underwear of these
Oh,
young
I
girls.
saw
And
them
you don't see
myself.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. So it's an evil, mindset that they're in right now where yes, the white farmers is one set of evil, but even for their agenda, they were letting those young women, kids go by the wayside because of their agenda. So they don't care about the well-being of humanity. They only care about their agenda at any means possible, and it's sick.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Well, I'm interested to see the fallout, and if the media will even respond to this or accurately report it. Probably not.
No.
But I mean, it's on Fox News now at the moment as a breaking story. But yeah, it's a
It's
savage move
wild.
by our president, and it's why we like him. It's why we appreciate what he's doing because who has the stones or the cojones to do
Right.
that in a situation? I mean, he's putting them on notice that this can't be happening.
Well,
We're watching.
it's also why they tried to kill him.
Yep.
They they try to kill this guy for a reason, and every time we see him do something when it comes to this level of transparency and calling it for what it is, that's you see their response. Their heads explode because they can't imagine that this veneer of a world they've been trying to show for us or paint for us is not true. And this guy's bull in the china shop, man. People gotta understand this is not we're not living in the times that people thought we were living in. We've been lied to at every turn and every corner. It's time to shake it up. Let's go. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about the media lying about something else. So
If they're talking, they're lying. Let's go.
yeah, yeah, it's as long as their mouths are open, lies are coming out. Yeah, so Biden has been it's been announced that
Oh,
he has a very aggressive stage 4 prostate cancer. And
mm,
stage 4, essentially, I mean, it means it's throughout his whole entire system. It's metastasized. Again, we don't know all of the details yet, but that's what's being reported now. And they're acting as if it's a surprise. Now,
right.
you have to remember that the White House physician and the doctors that are treating our presidents, all of our presidents, they are It's very invasive because this is the leader of the free world. They are monitoring and analyzing the guy's health, and so for them to all of a sudden, oh yeah, we just missed this. No, they knew about this. This is a cover up because they had to continue with the narrative that this guy was healthy, he was
Hmm.
robust. They
Hmm.
had to gaslight us every day. We knew otherwise. And so now there's two things that are coming out. This, and then they're also finally admitting, wow, we just had no idea that he had this tremendous mental decline. Oh, we thought he was amazing, and they're acting as if you're having guys like Jake
Tapper,
Tapper
yeah.
say, "Oh yeah, I had no idea," and wow, what were people lying to us? No, bro, that was you that was lying to
Right.
us. And
Dude,
it's funny how much he's trying to make it his colleagues and other people that were aware, and he was bamboozled when we all know that he knew what was up.
dude, this guy, I was talking to Charlotte about this. It's I think CNN has made a decision to save their own skin. This is what it looks like when the rats jump off the boat.
Yeah,
And they're making money off the book because CNN is actually promoting this book. They're having him do a press tour. We know that he works for a company that if he was doing something like this and they didn't agree with it, it wouldn't be all over their airwaves like this. But back to the point of, both with the diagnosis of cancer and his cognitive decline, it tells me that it goes back to the initial point what we're talking about with South Africa. They don't care about life when it comes to their agenda. Their
correct.
agenda supersedes anyone's life. They put this guy up here. From all reports, stage 4 is something that at least 2 to 3 years you will see it before it's like hitting its peak to what they're talking about today. So we're at the very least we could be generous and say in 2022. I actually saw this post on X from I think it's insurrectionist Barbie, I think is her name.
Mhm.
And she said this was the big lie, that it was set up for them to they faked a riot to have illegitimate man who was dying come in just so they can fill their agenda. And we've seen this guy who, for all accounts, years earlier, Joe Biden was somewhat of a moderate to the most progressive president we've ever seen in our lifetime. That's something else. And the shadow now, the question has to be asked: who was running the country? Because a man going through that is not making those decisions, especially with the auto pen stuff that was happening. It's a
Correct.
lot that's happening right now, man. I don't think people are ready for. We're just at the opening of the show. It's just the first musical act. We're not even in the meat and potatoes yet because I think it's still going to happen. It's still going to
Yeah,
get bigger.
correct. And I'm not sure if I mean we should see movement against the pardons that he made, and I think it
Hmm.
casts everything that he did. I mean, his entire presidency was run by Ron Klain and Jill Biden and other people in his
Barack.
inner circle, right?
Excuse me.
Yeah, they were the people that were running our country. It was not Joe Biden,
Right.
and everybody on our side knew it. Everybody on their side knew it. The difference is they wanted so badly to. Again, they're collectivists, so they don't care if it's a leader or it's a
Mhm.
committee of their people
As
that
long
are
as it's
just
their
running
people.
things behind the scenes. That is why you and I would be bothered by it because we elected a person. They
Right.
they just created a movement,
Right.
and the movement or the collective runs things. So nobody on their side really cared, which is why they were able to go Joe Biden. Oh nope, Kamala Harris.
Yeah, the leader of a new generation who never got one single vote in any type of
That's
national
right.
election. Yeah,
That's
that
right.
makes. I guess to them though, that is the new generation. Like your vote won't really matter. We'll just pick it for you. So it goes. Bryce, this goes to everyone. I've watched a bunch of interviews with individuals who from Circle Back Saki to other senators for that one dude, I forget his name off the top, that went to El Salvador, and they all are trying to use plausible deniability. Well, when I worked with him for like that 10 minutes, he was fine, but I didn't work with him enough to see anything. And it's like, yo, dude, from Kamala to CNN to MSNBC to, the chiefs of staff, to his administration, everyone in his administration, they are all culpable for this, man. Like that's I think people really don't realize the scale of what this really means. I mean, to me, it's almost similar to what happened to FDR and very similar to what was happened to Reagan towards the end, where people were like, Reagan was forgetting what's going on. He wasn't really running it the last couple of years. And that's a danger to our system at the end of the day.
That's
Like
right.
Trump or not, if he starts to go, we got to start talking about stuff. But they didn't want to put Kamala in for the 25th Amendment. That was the truth right there. That was the sad truth. Was she was that even proves that she was a DEI hire, that a guy dying of cancer in front of the entire world, they're like,
A
yeah,
senile guy dying of cancer.
Dude, how bad are you if they can't even trust that you will follow what they want to do, because they'll let Bernie from Weekends at Bernie run the show and be the face of it because you're that bad. So
That's
this
right.
thing is huge, Bryce. Like we're gonna be talking. I think we're gonna be talking about this for at least another year, bro. Like this is there are people. I don't know what. Let me ask you this: what legal ramifications can happen with the administrative staff, with people in the administration? Like I feel like there's something in there for knowingly lying about this at such a level. Do you know? Is it possible?
Well, anything's possible. I mean, they committed fraud against the American people. I mean, it's treasonous behavior.
Right.
I mean, they deserve they deserve to be criminally prosecuted for it.
Hmm.
But then that's when we get into whether they will or not. Do we have the political will? Do you have brave, attorney generals that will go after this stuff? Do you have people that will prosecute them for these crimes? Or is it, and this is a consideration, is it best to just move forward and go on? The
No.
stuff that concerns me the most is the pardons.
Hmm.
You have people like Anthony Fauci that committed crimes against humanity with things that we know and things that he's admitted to already, potentially escaping any kind of prosecution because of that auto pen pardon and the deals that he was able to secure for himself behind the scenes. Or Adam Schiff, one of the
Right.
biggest liars in the entire governmental
Traitor.
apparatus. I mean, that guy was an evil guy, and they're going to, and they pardoned him. Again, Biden didn't. Biden had no idea what he was doing. They pardoned preemptively many of these people so that they could avoid prosecution, and
Hmm.
all of that stuff should be null and void.
Well, so okay, to that point, right? That the audio came out about his interview with special counsel and how lost this guy sounded. Can that be part of evidence to, in a sense, dismiss most of his official acts? Because if this guy can't, that's the other side. If he can't sit there and remember dates and he's rambling on when he's being interviewed directly in a safe space right there, how can we trust that anything and everything he did, we'll just grant him from
Yeah,
that interview on, which
yeah.
includes those pardons, right? Like how can
Exactly. I mean, that's why they released, only the transcript of that, not the audio. Now that
Mhm.
audio came out, I mean, it shows for the whole of the people of the United States that he was not competent, and did not have the capacity to run things. Again, this is just all confirming what we all believed
Yeah.
based on the evidence that we all directly saw. I mean, it was very clear that he just did not have the brain power, the temerity to do what was necessary. And we were being lied to and manipulated at the media level,
Every
and
turn.
the administration, was a shadow government running things, and we knew it, we saw it. It's just now it's all true. And you're watching CNN and the Jake Tappers and the
Tap
and all
dance.
the politicians, yeah, tap dance away from it, pretend like, oh well, we had no idea. I mean, every time I met with him, he was fit as a fiddle. He was sharp as a tack. What wasn't that what they were
Yeah.
saying?
Wait, what's the name? Joe Scarborough says he's cogent. He said this is the best Biden he's ever seen. And I think that one of the best things that can come out of it, regardless on whether we have political will one way or the other, is the people out there like yourself, myself, and many others, trust your gut. Trust
Yeah.
your eyes, trust what's going on. They tried to tell you do not trust yourself. And this can go down the line for so many things, including the COVID vaccine, including, the George Floyd stuff and the BLM stuff. Trust your gut. Like, God gave us sense of reason, whether you believe him or not. And I think that it was kicking up in so many people, but yet a lot of people decided to disregard that because they were told by the experts not to trust themselves. But this is telling us what you felt in that right down in your spirit, that was true, not them. And that's something that you can't quantify the worth of that, I believe.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And again, it just proves and shows, what evil people many of these politicians and corporate media types are. And it lays bare again with direct evidence all the things that you and I have talked about, all the things that conservatives have talked about generally for many
Mhm.
years. It's also why they started going really really hard against President Trump to kind of question his cognitive abilities and things like that. And you're going to see them continue on with that narrative. Oh, he's too old and all these sort of things, when that guy is making his own decisions,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
that guy is doing what he said he was going to do, and
big
really
time.
a tremendous amount of energy, especially for a guy that is that old. I mean, he's been pretty unbelievable in his
Yep.
pacing and his ability to get things done.
And
So
make deals, man. Woo! To talk about the deal maker. I love it. I love it.
yeah, and we're seeing more of those. I've talked about a little bit, recently. We're seeing the results of these negotiations, the results of the tariffs. We're seeing the pressure that he put on these other countries start to bear fruit in good agreements, that we've had, like we just did with the UK. China's at the table. All of these countries that have been abusing us for years are starting to come and craft deals that are more in the favor of the United States, and
Exactly.
and it's fun to watch. It's really interesting to see how they were talking about the whole of the economy tanking and the markets and all that stuff, and look, I think I have like a little play money account, and that little play money account was down nearly 30% for me. Um, and and now it's up like 10% from where it was. Uh,
Patience.
yeah, and I was just watching it. It's just kind of a fun little mix of stocks and things that I bought. It started out pre-COVID. It was like $1,500 or something that I put in there, and I
Oh
just
wow.
started playing with it. And now we're up to, I think, 10, almost $11,000 of just that original investment that I
Yeah.
that I put in, and I and
Wow.
I bought things during the pandemic that I thought would do well, and they did. And I don't really play the stock market. I've got smarter people that invest my money for that. But this was just my own little experiment,
Yeah.
and to watch it go down to 7,000, and then be back up almost at 12. It's pretty nice.
Dude, and hold on, man. Like the final announcement of the trade deals with China hasn't come through yet. The announcement of the deals with all these other countries haven't come through yet. So we're gonna see. I honestly think, like, yeah, hold on to that, because I think it's gonna go up. You're gonna be even more surprised with what happens, because the market is about to lose its mind with, I mean, we just saw the deal he made over in the Middle East. Like, the market went crazy for that, and it's going to
Yep.
go even crazier, especially they're going to, I know him and the crown prince of Saudi Arabia are like, have a great relationship, which Bryce, this is one thing that gets me. They talk about his relationships with people that the media has been telling us are bad people, and they might rightly be, but his relationships with them can broker us better deals for us here at home and help our economic pockets. It's like, what I said this to someone, what would you rather have, like death and destruction, or the ability to have conversations so we don't go there and a person
Well,
couldn't respond?
it's always silly, and Trump derangement syndrome is a thing,
It's real.
but because you do watch them all, grasp at their pearls, about how we need peace and we need to, all this stuff. And then, you've got a guy who, and we need diplomacy and everything. And you've got a guy that is sitting down with these leaders and having great diplomatic successes. And then what do they say? Oh, he just, he likes them because they're fellow dictators.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
It's like, come on,
All
guys,
right.
you can be better than that. But they're
Yeah.
not. They're just
Yeah.
again, it goes back to your point of the Trump derangement. Like they hate him so much that there is nothing that he could, like he said, he could find the cure for cancer and they would still not applaud. Like
That
he
is
was
exactly
100%
right.
100%
That's
correct.
exactly right. Hey, so let's talk about our last little item before we
Yeah.
conclude here.
Let's
Let's talk about the immigration story. We had that Maryland man recently that they always find a focal point. They
yeah.
find somebody. Oh, look at this poor grandma. This poor abuela was ripped, away after she's been here for 30 years illegally, and then she's sent home. They'll find stories like that, right? And they're ignoring the people that are being sent back or the people that are self-deporting right now. They're ignoring the fact that under Biden, we had open borders and now all of a sudden they're closed and it's down to a trickle. And now they're going through and trying to process and deport people who have been here illegally. They've made their focus on criminals. I think it should be I don't think it should have been announced that way. I think it should have been announced, hey, if you are here illegally, we're coming after you.
right.
And just because that would have created a more self-deportation kind of a mode.
Right,
And
right,
and
right.
look, I feel bad for the people who get displaced that have been here for a long time. I have compassion for those folks. I don't think it was a you know I think it was our fault for allowing the conditions and allowing people to come here where we created a magnet for them. You have to remove the magnet, remove the benefits, and all the things that people get here coming illegally. We need to have good worker exchange programs for people who come over here to work. There's all kinds of things that we can do to do it right, and a lot of it exists already on our books.
Right.
And we need to enforce these laws. But the story of due process that the media is
Let's
using,
go.
that number one, if you had a flood of open borders and you had millions of people come here, you cannot possibly have a trial for every single human being. Okay. You cannot do that. You didn't go through proper channels to get them here. You can't
Demand.
have a jury trial or a hearing for every single person to have them leave. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, our system was set up with specific immigration due process courts. They pretend that it isn't a different thing, and
Right.
we don't have a process where we have immigration courts that are specifically set up for this. And so that Maryland man who was MS-13 was adjudicated as MS-13 in the court system twice. He was deported. The only thing that they can argue was he wasn't supposed to be sent back to El Salvador. The
Right.
reason that they argued at the time that he wasn't supposed to be sent back to El Salvador was because of the gang and MS-13 infestation that existed in El Salvador at the time. And they didn't want to put him back there because they knew that he might be killed, by MS-13 going
Well,
back.
no, it was the rival gang to MS-13
Oh, that's
that,
right.
yeah. So it was like he goes, so he was afraid the rival gang, not a gang, just for existing, the rival. So if they're the rival, who are you a part of? If
Yeah.
they're the rival, it's like they don't want to put that together. It's so wild.
Yeah, that's right. So, but that no longer existed as a problem for him. And he was an El Salvadorian citizen. Send him back there. We didn't send him back to a jail. We sent him to El Salvador, and El Salvador put him in a jail
Right.
because he was, and they knew he was MS-13. So the guy had his due process. Don't let the media and social media and all of the echo chamber people that repeat the lies continue to perpetuate lies. The guy had due process under our system. And again, it would be impossible for us, and it's unreasonable for us to, try to hold trials the way that these people are imagining. Plus, if you are an illegal, there is an argument, I think it holds water. There's an argument to be made that you do not have the same rights as a citizen here if you are here illegally.
Right. Yeah, and here's the other, and this this goes to show you where their loyalties really lie, because now they're screaming due process, and it also shows you the intelligence of our citizenship, because citizenry, I should say, because they're screaming due process, believing that for these people it's supposed to be everyone goes, you get a jury and you sit down and you go through that. No, that's not what it is. It's very specific. It's just the immigration judge. You just go see him and it's in and out. And you're right. Right now, the system has been flooded on purpose so that this could be their talking point, because they don't have anything. What's their legislative, offering to the American people? But just like Van Hollen, who went down, just remember his name, Van Hollen, who went down to El Salvador, a group of Democrats recently, including the mayor of Newark, they went down there to stop the transportation of literally rapists and murderers. And LaMonica McClaver, or whatever her name is, she just got charged with assaulting. They assaulted an officer. I remember that was bad. But they assaulted an officer. And I hope that people see they didn't care about American citizens who were grabbed up in early morning raids because of January 6th, walking around like myself, just walking around peacefully. They didn't care people were put in jail for multiple years. They didn't care that people without due process were put on no extra security flight list. They didn't care that your name was splattered all over the place before you even charged, let alone found guilty of anything. They didn't care about any of that for American citizens, dude. But people who their first crime was coming here illegally, all of a sudden everyone's crying and they need to care about this, telling you how much they actually hate the American people. Because those same legislators, those Congress people who were like, oh, we're going to go conduct oversight. When Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz went over to the DC gulag, they weren't allowed in, and there was only somebody's cell phone recording that. Where are all the cameras? Just like they had cameras for these people going there to try to stop the transportation of violent individuals. So you tell me again, or I hope that people are able to see who they actually really care about, because it wasn't us. It wasn't American citizens, but non-citizens, their slave labor, they tend to care about so much more that they're going to put their own jobs on the line for it. It is insane. It is maddening. It's super frustrating. And I really do hope that this DOJ, this FBI, goes after every single one of them for any and everything that they have been doing. They don't need to make up a crime and find the person, because fraud, like you said, that they've been doing, they've been lying to us, and they've been sitting there pushing other people's agendas, foreigners' agendas over the American people. That is inherently anti-American. Everyone needs to come to light, and I hope she gets the full penalty. And, maybe she'll get the same 2 to 3 years that people got for assaulting an officer over in DC, and some people got for not doing anything, I should say, as well, from January 6th. If they really cared about cops, remember, they cared about cops.
That's right.
That's so frustrating.
Well, brother, anything else that is on your mind? Any other stories that you want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to point out that we are winning. Don't get tired of winning. Hold on to your butts, because I still think there is so much more to come out. We know the Diddy trial is going on right now, and Obama's name was mentioned as sitting down and meeting with Diddy, but they didn't go any further with that. There's a lot, guys. This onion is going to make a lot of people cry, but I think ultimately it's really great to break this spell that has been on the American populace since I've been alive.
Amen, brother. Well, I think you were exactly right. Well, hey, I always enjoy when you come on and, give us a little bit on these news episodes. Appreciate you so much, brother. To God be the glory. How do we follow you? How do we pay attention to what you're doing?
So check me out on X is _Siaka Massaquoi. On Instagram is Siaka_Massaquoi. You can Google me search for me on my YouTube. I'm trying to kind of do a little something there because I'm like, why not? But yeah, and look forward. I actually just finished a movie called The Best Thing About Christmas, a musical, which I'm not singing, so don't worry about it, guys. But it's a beautiful musical, and that should be out around Christmas time. The Best Thing About Christmas. Great story, great music, and I think you guys will really enjoy it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hey, again, to God be the glory, and we are out. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for watching or listening to this show. If you are someone who listens to us on the podcast apps, please go to our Rumble channel. Even if you're not going to watch us there, we'd appreciate you hitting subscribe. We want to boost those numbers up and make sure that that channel continues to grow. But again, thank you so much for listening to us.